now. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah, what's happening? What's happening? Like we caught you. I mean, you started it, and you got there to be surprised.
Nah, I wasn't surprised. I'm just, technology is stupid.
It's a common phrase for you.
It is.
It is. I understand.
Technology would stop being stupid, then I'd stop calling it stupid.
Well, I gotta appreciate it to some degree because now we got a show, right? Cool.
True.
That name of that show is Quotes and Mirrors, and we'd like to welcome you all to another episode. I am Uncommonterry, and he is
Rellic.
Yep, I almost said it. I caught myself. I said I wasn't going to say it. So, what we do here at Quotes and Mirrors, we live up to the name. We do find a quote, and then we reflect on that quote. We will go back and forth each week. Sometimes I'm prepared, sometimes he's not. So, this week
will be the case tonight.
Say again?
That will be the case tonight.
Yeah, you got to preface the situation, kind of ease into it. So now they know what to expect. Nobody will be disappointed. We've set our standards low. So tonight it was my turn to choose. If you can see the screen, excuse me, it's scrolling on the bottom part of the screen there. If you cannot, I'm going to read it anyway. The quote today is from David Goggins. Did it in reverse. And he says, you have to learn to perform without motivation. Without motivation. This is really a crazy concept to me. That's why I was just on, regular, just kind of scrolling through Instagram, and it popped up. It was the first thing. It didn't even, like, the graphic didn't even fully come in before he says, you got to learn to perform without motivation. And I'm like, it was way too intriguing for me to not, think about it. But I didn't actually listen to the rest of what he was saying on the speech. This part right here stopped me in my track. I'm like, well, how do you even do this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my initial reaction to it. That's what caught me. That's what made me say, yo, let's rap about this. Especially because, you, like I said, you're a fairly accomplished cat. I'm not going to keep saying that, but you keep kind of accomplishing things. So, you know what I mean? So that's why in particular, I didn't just want to talk about this. I definitely want to talk about it with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, because I haven't quite figured out how to do this. You know what I mean?
I haven't either.
Really?
Yeah. I told you last week, I think you're going to be really surprised at some of the things that I say. Yeah. I have no idea how to perform without motivation. When my motivation is gone, so am I.
So what do you do? Because this is what I'm getting from what he's saying is you have to. What do you do when your motivation is gone, but what needs to be done still needs to be done? And that's why I kind of like how exactly I want a scenario because it seems like if nothing else, you'd be motivated by fear, desperation, obligation, whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a positive necessary motivation, but
right,
motivation nonetheless. A push. And I guess I don't know. It's pressure and motivation the same thing? Seems like it could be.
Well, for me, it is. I can't speak for everybody else because there are a lot of people that crack under pressure, but there are a lot of people who just pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah.
So you either bust the pipe or it's going to make the diamond. But I mean,
all right.
But yeah, it just like for me, I've had to. There have been times where I haven't been motivated and I have to create motivation almost to the point of lying to myself about certain things.
Lying to yourself. Okay, hold on. How is that working for you? I'm saying.
So with rap, right? So at one point, especially when I first started rapping, I think because I was battling, I was always motivated to go take somebody's head off, and there was always a target. somebody always presented themselves as a target.
Okay.
Well, let me not say always, because the times that it didn't happen, I didn't feel as motivated. So what I would do is I would listen to something that somebody said and convince myself they said that about me.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
would spin it, I would twist it some way where I could somehow be like, yeah, I think you're talking about me. And then
Okay.
I would be motivated to go in there, and then I tear this poor, unsuspecting, innocent person's head off, and they didn't deserve it, but I didn't
No.
say their name, so it's not like they knew or anything like that. But sometimes, like that was like the things that have motivated me the most as far as music. Because when you say motivation, of course, there are a lot of things that I do and there are a lot of things that can motivate you. But the very first thing that comes to my mind is music because that's where my roots are. That's where everything started for me.
Okay.
And so um, I would be motivated. Like I was the most motivated and the most creative and the most inspired when either somebody said something I didn't like
Mm-hmm.
or when I was in a very deep depression and I had to create my way out of the depression.
Okay. So okay, so I'm curious, like motivation, because I talked asked earlier about motivation versus pressure. I
Mhm.
guess you can definitely put pressure on yourself, but is motivation more of an internal or external situation?
Um, that's a good question. And honestly, I think it depends. Um
Because the thing is, because
hold on before
like, what's up?
my bad. I just saw the comments. Vega said, good job, you didn't say it.
Oh, me?
Yes, yes,
No,
yes.
I'm trying my best.
But then she's also remember I told you I said that somebody said they were really excited about this quote. She
Oh.
just reiterated that on the comment. She said, I'm so excited about this quote. So yeah, but my bad. What were you going to say?
Oh man, seriously,
My bad.
it's like 36, 7 seconds later, and you expect me to remember? I don't recall exactly
That's
what I
my
was
bad.
about to get into. Yeah, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. I don't remember exactly what I was going to get into. But the other thing, I hate that we can't connect it. The other thing concerning this quote, first me figuring out, okay, how do you actually do that? But then also really resenting having to do what you just talked about, having to manufacture motivation. Like I am a I am a creative.
Mhm.
I I love words, love words, and have speaking of words like for to be able to paint pictures and definitely the rhymes and the puns and the quips and all of that. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Oh, excuse me. But I love words, but oftentimes, like if I'm asked to write something, I don't like having to manufacture the creativity, the motivation to get it done. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I can't stand like so. I think I'm with you, honestly. Where I mean, it's obviously we're kind of we're exchanging creativity for motivation or making creativity motivation, but when I'm forced to do it as an assignment, it just don't. It can't flow. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I hate when I've had people say, "Hey, you should write a song about this." Well, not write a song, but think of a song.
Right.
You should think a song about this, or you should write a book about this, or you should do this and you do that or whatever. And I never do it. Anytime anybody tries to give me an idea, with the exception of you, you were the only person that I've been able to do that with. Of course, ideas you gave me, what I did to those, but
Yeah, exactly.
but outside of that, man, I, I've I've just never been able to do it because I think part of it is not my idea. and I work strictly off of inspiration. Like
Hold on,
that.
hold on,
That's
hold
what
on.
so inspiration.
You said part of it because it's not your idea.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah,
No, yo, that's a huge part of it.
yeah,
That is the E, the G, and the O.
yeah,
I'm talking about for me too. So I
yeah.
don't like greeting cards. I'm not buying no greeting card. I can write this.
Exactly. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Nah. So go ahead. My bad.
yeah. Nah, yeah. That's it's funny you say that. Yeah, that is a huge part, man. Because the thing is, if if somebody gives me an idea for something and then I take this and turn it into something great, now this is ours. Mm-mm. Nah, I don't want
All
this to
right.
be ours. This is mine's. It's all mine.
Well,
Yeah,
so I mean, but okay, but we got to be able to do things that we don't like or
mhm.
want to do, right? And so,
Maybe.
I mean,
So I'm gonna say this. I hear people say that a lot, and people have said that to me. And normally it's in response to me saying, I don't want to, right? So the
okay,
reason
that
part of
makes sense.
now, now in connecting to the quote, as far as motivation is concerned, one of the things that has motivated me my entire life
Hmm.
is the fact that there are things that I just don't want to do. And I want to just march to the beat of my own drum. So that's the reason that I worked myself into a position of being able to be self-employed for so long because I don't want to get up and go to a 9 to 5 job. I don't want somebody telling me how much money I'm going to make. I don't want somebody telling me that I got to come into work and when I can take vacation. Like, and so anytime it's like it's so motivating to me every time I hear somebody say, "Well, look, sometimes you just got to do things you don't want to do." And I'm like, let me figure out how to not do this and still accomplish what I need to get accomplished.
Okay, first of all, I feel a little attacked. Um, just because I'm not an entrepreneur, you know, I happen to work a 9 to 5, 8 to 4:30, but still, you know, I feel a little attacked. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Which is crazy because you really shouldn't be.
No, but see, the thing is, see now, I got to learn to perform without motivation
Right.
because when
Yeah.
this is you really have to define motivation, I guess, individually. But I get what he's saying. Like, just when you don't actually want to do it, or even when you do want to do it, and like it's the ambition for me. It's that go button that I cannot seem to push. Like, you know how you got some buttons where you can just tap it and it'll complete the function, but others it has to be depressed so that it
Mhm.
stays down.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, holding that button or hitting that
Mhm.
right button that stays in that go position, yeah,
Mhm.
that's very difficult for me. And it's not. And then this is just crazy thing because apparently I just need to be performing, period, with or without, right? Because as I look, and like I could look around my house and not see motivation to do more.
Right. Hmm.
You know what I mean? From my wife to all my kids, and definitely, if I just look out the window and be like, I want another car. But why don't I think to myself, all right, that's my motivation.
Hmm.
And so and so it's kind of the upside or the interesting thing about performing without motivation is okay, inspired or not, right? I do know what, like say, like I know what to aim at, right?
Hmm.
Now, whether I really want to, put all the work in, doesn't matter. I still gotta go.
Right.
Because this obviously is gonna be in reference to, well, I would imagine, first of all, it's in reference to something that you need to do that has to happen, regardless of whether or not you want to do it. But also, it could be something that has to happen in order for a certain thing to get done. Like, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, like, excuse me, you may not want to tighten the belt, build a budget, live by a budget initially. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But forget, you got to do what you got to do. So if you
Mhm.
want oodles and noodles and for a minute until you can get up, and you just gotta. I ain't motivated to do this, but I have to do this in order to get the bigger picture done. You know
Yeah.
what I
Your
mean?
blood pressure gonna be high as hell, but hey, you'll be successful.
You don't have to eat. You don't have to put the packet in the noodles.
Oh.
By the way, that's where all the sodium is from. Jerk. You gonna act like you ain't never had oodles and noodles.
Yeah, I
Stop
think I think that learning to perform without motivation is um I think him saying this quote, I don't think it should stop there.
You never do think it should stop there. You are the most disrespectful to periods anybody I have ever.
No, you're the one with all the kids. You're the one that's disrespectful to periods.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. I need you to listen to the science of what you said, though, because those two things happening at the same time do not produce the kids.
Mm-mm.
Right.
But you are so disrespectful to periods that you make them stop.
Oh.
But I digress. So
I have to say that was actually pretty decent.
thank you.
That's pretty decent. That as soon as you hit that period turn into exclamation point, it was pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I gotta give you that one. All right, cool. All right,
So
go ahead.
But I think that the another part of this is because for some people it's hard. Like for me, I cannot perform without motivation, right? So learning to perform without motivation, it shouldn't just stop there. The other part of this is sometimes you just got to go search for the motivation. You got to find the motivation. Like there have been times, I have found motivation in some of the weirdest places, or something that is just so for instance, put it this way. I used to, when I was like in my early 20s, and part of my motivation, of course, was to become a successful rapper. And I knew the other things that I wanted to do: acting, politics, like all of the stuff that I said that I'm going to do, right? So I used to go outside. I would just be outside and I would look in the sky and I would see a plane going by. And that plane flying above my head would motivate me, because I would be like, I wonder where they're going. And I want to be able to just go hop on a plane at any point, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend of mine who actually at one point he was my acting manager for music. And I say acting because he sucked. Anyway, but he when he used to hustle, and he was making so much money that at one point, like, he would just wake up. He had this map of the world on his wall, and he would wake up, grab a dart, throw the dart at the map, and wherever it landed, he would go there that day. He would just go buy a ticket and fly there that day. That right there, when he said that to me, because I told him about me just looking up in the sky, seeing these planes and being motivated, then he was telling me about that. That changed my motivation even more, because I was like, yo, I need to change my motivation. I'm up here looking at these planes, wanting to be on them, when I really need to be trying to own the airline. So now I'm looking at the planes like, all right, how do I get my name on one of those planes? And then I would be that motivated, and then all of a sudden the motivation just leaves. I look up at the plane and all I see is somebody going somewhere, and that's it. Like, it's just, and now I'm at a point where I had all of this motivation. I wanted to own this plane or own this airline, and now I'm just stuck. I just, like, whatever, motivation just gone, just gone.
You know what I was just thinking about, like, so, because first of all, I get that situation too, but what you're explaining essentially is a fluctuation, right? And so, because for me, it definitely comes back around. I have ideas. I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna do this." No. And I'm gonna do this, and it'd be the same joint that come around every couple of months. I get amped, and I get another email address, You know what I'm saying? And but I think what I'm getting now as we talk about it is that there's going to be peaks and valleys
Mm-hmm.
in whatever it is that you're actually going to. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you're not going to go, because you're not going to go from peak to peak. You know what I mean? You're going
Mm-hmm.
to have to learn. Yeah, now I feel like I really got it. I feel like it's gonna, oh, like, because I'm like, yo, it's those in between times in order to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In order to establish a momentum and keep going in a consistency, you're gonna have to perform without motivation, because you're not going to wake up with the same motivation every day. But you still got to get it done. Like right now, I tell you, it's been, what's today? 16th?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow will be 6 months that I've been in the gym. That I've been
Mm-hmm.
in the gym easily 4 days a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm stronger. But I haven't lost very much weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Trader says I'm kind of converted because like things are tighter.
Muscle. Yeah.
Yeah,
The muscle is heavier. Yeah.
yeah. But I want, but every more I'm like, I need to see the numbers on the scale go down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I need a metaphysical discount. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you're in luck.
I need to see the numbers go down. So of course, my trainer was explaining to me, the thing that he's doing, he's building the strength for me to be able to do the low weight, high rep, and to do the more cardio and stuff like that. So he's kind of building the floor for it. I'm like, okay, I am getting considerably strong. Getting in and out of the car is a whole nother situation. Getting up and down the stairs, so much better. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But I want to see the numbers change on that scale.
Right.
And you know, so when I get out the bed, a lot of times I'm getting up at 3:45 to leave the house at 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like, matter of fact, I don't ever really feel like that in the moment. It's just I know it doesn't matter because I can't get these numbers down by not going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel
Yeah.
it at all. And I have to drag myself to the gym. But once I get there, then it's a whole nother story. But then after the fact, I'm still like, man, I want to see these numbers drop. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, let me say, I thought I was going to be motivated by the weight loss. Um, and so because that was a part of my motivation, right now I'm still definitely performing without motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I'll be getting up tomorrow morning to go perform without motivation. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
So now I think I got it. I think I didn't hear that at first. I really want to know what you're talking about, but I think definitely talking about just dealing with the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Chef said motivation is typically attached to a goal. Routine and or habit is the vehicle to get you there. You won't be motivated on a daily basis. That's where consistency comes in.
Hold on. Who said that?
Chef.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I I thought you said chef at first,
Uh-huh.
but just because the way that's worded, yeah, I was because the dude, he nice. He nice. coming to break it down and explaining it, and you just like, not that you thought he was gonna be less than at all. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
But
Respect.
yeah, because that ain't my circle, right? Or
Plus,
our
he
circle.
created this logo. Like,
Like that. But
exactly.
but it's just the way he speaks a lot like a street professor. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? With a certain vernacular. So read that again, by the way.
He said motivation is typically attached to a goal. Routine and or habit is the vehicle to get you there. You won't be motivated on a daily basis. That's where consistency comes in.
Right. So, okay. So consistency could essentially be, this is the definition of consistency
Mhm. Right,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
Performing without motivation, like regardless of the up or the down.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Sometimes consistency can take the place of motivation.
Okay.
I'm not, or in a weird way, the consistency could be, or the desire for the consistency could be the motivation.
Don't get gray. Do we have to get gray?
I didn't think that was great. I thought it was great. Like,
Yeah, but you got dash narcissism. So
what?
I'm sorry.
Narcissism.
Okay, fine. It's quite a bit of narcissism. It's my bad. The dash was a poor measurement. Absolutely. So yeah, don't get in the gray though. Like, I mean, because you're gonna say it, and I don't really want you to say it.
It's not great. I don't think that's great.
All right,
I always stopped at my grades, but this ain't great.
Say it again. Say it again.
I said sometimes the consistency or the desire for the consistency is the motivation. So I don't want to, like, for instance, for me, when I'm working out, there are days, like, for instance, today, I am not motivated to work out, right? But I have to be consistent. And because I didn't work out yesterday, and now I don't work out every single day. I have like 2 days. I have 2 rest days, right? But because I didn't work out yesterday, I'm going to throw off my rest days. So, and because I have to remain consistent, that is the thing that is motivating me to, when we get off of here, I'm about to go work out. As bad as I do not, I swear I don't feel like doing this, yo.
Yeah, you wildin'.
Yo, I really do not feel like working out, especially with the way I work out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go sleep.
Don't break your arm. Don't break your arm, okay? Patting yourself on the back, I'm saying. Okay.
No. This is not patting myself in the back.
I mean,
this is me trying to force motivation.
I'm just, especially the way I work out, though. You know how I get it in. Especially with okay.
Oh, no. I ain't mean it like that. I was talking about how tired
I get. A little bit. Turn it down.
That's just.
Yeah, I mean, just.
No, don't do this to me. Don't do this. Don't like that. Don't do that. That was uncomfortable.
It was so uncomfortable when you did it back. I was like, yo, nope, won't do that again. No problem. No problem. But all right, so I'm sorry, because I'm going back to the statement that Chef was saying that motivation. He's saying motivation is normally attached to a goal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so but keep going, because just because you're not motivated in the pursuit, the goal didn't go away. You still got the goal.
Right, but what he's saying is that the goal, trying to reach the goal is the motivation. So the next thing he said was routine and or habit is the vehicle to get you there. So you won't be motivated on a daily basis. There, that's where consistency comes in. So if you're not motivated, he's saying what I said basically.
Well,
if you're not motivated, then the consistency takes the place of the motivation.
Got you. I was going to say, because I can't say
kind of what I'm saying.
No, but I can't say why y'all agree. I'm saying it without saying it. You know what I mean? And I don't disagree, but I'm just saying he is basically saying, I guess, articulating the same idea, same concept. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. When I became a clinical weight loss coach, one of the things that focuses... My bad.
I'm sorry.
I had to do it for the story. Okay.
Dude, you be dropping accolades like cats drop names. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo. But go ahead. When you became a clinical
weight loss coach.
Yeah, a CWLC. Gotcha.
It dealt with the psychology of weight loss, right? So a large part of this was me trying to help my clients find the motivation, because they just the desire was there, but the motivation wasn't always there. right?
Okay, so now speak on that. By the way, with this being clients, how are you having them? How are you teaching them to perform without motivation?
Well, I would just create the motivation. I wouldn't try to get them to perform without motivation. I would just find different areas in their life, and I would like go to some extremes, like to the point where, like when we had a clinical weight loss session,
Mm-hmm.
there was no working out. This is me just talking. It's all psychology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there talking to them, and I will do this thing where I'm like, "Look, close your eyes, and I want to take you on a journey." And I take them on this journey that where um they are continuing to not work out. They're continuing to make poor choices as far as eating, just lifestyle changes or whatever. And then
Okay.
it eventually leads to them being on their deathbed with their kids standing around them, watching them die as a decision. I mean, as a result of a decision that they made. They chose to not do the things, um, they chose to not do the things that could have added to their, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? My bad. That they chose to, I kept kicking the table. I'm trying to
Like
move
something
something
was
out the
going
way.
on. Looked like you had a earthquake.
Right. That's exactly what happened. but but you know, they made the decision to not do the things that would prevent them from being in that situation. And as a result, the most important people in your life, your children, your spouse or whatever, they're standing at your bedside watching you die,
Right.
and it's your fault. And that would work. I mean, now that's the short version, because when I did it, I mean, I'm sitting there talking to them a good 20 to 30 minutes with them with their eyes closed, and I'm painting this picture, and I'm going through all of these different scenarios for them, and slow walking to death. And they don't realize that that's what we're getting. That they don't realize that's where we're going. And then until we get there. And then once they get there, tears start rolling. And as soon as the tears start rolling, for me, I'm like, there's the motivation. There it is
No,
right there.
I thought you
And
was going.
sometimes I got to remind you of the decision that you're making or the decision that you're not making that could lead to that scenario that I created. Now, is it an extreme? Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
a little
But
bit.
is it a possibility? Yes. And that's what we have to focus on, the fact that it is a possibility, you know. So I I don't focus so much on trying to learn to perform without motivation. I don't
Mhm.
try to get people to try to perform without motivation. I try to find the motivation, and I try to encourage people to find the motivation. You just have to realize that the motivation isn't going to be in the same place every time. You can put that picture of the person that you want to look like, or a picture of your younger self when you were in shape. You can put that picture up on the fridge, and for the first week, that's going to motivate you to every time you open up that fridge, you make sure you get the right things out that fridge, or it makes you stop making too many trips to that fridge, right? But after a while, that just becomes a picture.
I mean,
It
but like Chef was saying earlier though, after a while could be after the habit or the routine has formed, right? Because it
Mhm.
then, you know, like um like since I've been going to the gym, I used to have to wake. I definitely had to set my alarm.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And by the way, that's when I was getting up at like 4:30. It's so much easier for some reason to get up at 3:45 than it is to get up at 4:30. I have no idea how that works,
I have no
but
idea how that works either. That's crazy.
I
Yeah.
have no idea how that works. But the thing is, I used to have to set my alarm all the time for 4:30. I've been getting up at 3:45 only maybe 3 weeks, maybe the last month, right?
Mhm.
But at this point, I'm already in a place where like the alarm doesn't have to go off. I still set it just in case. But right
Mhm.
now, my internal clock is because of the habit and the routine. I'm getting up at 3:42, 3:43 just before the alarm
Mhm.
every night. You know what I mean? And I kind of dig it because the interesting thing, when my alarm goes off, that's when I'm like, oh my God, because it just broke my sleep. When I
Mhm.
wake up at 3:40, I'll admit, when I look at the phone and it says 3:40, I'm like, God dang it. You know what I mean? but, but at the same time, it's my body moving without the motivation of the alarm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and it's because of the routine and because of the habit, which of course has at this point has formed the consistency. And so, I really, I mean, as we talk about it more and more, I'm really seeing how I need to apply this to myself. If I'm a guy, if I'm going to actually get anything done,
Mm-hmm.
because I can get a whole lot started. Boy, I can get a whole lot started. But
Mm-hmm.
it's that finisher part that just, I could never, I don't know, just don't take it to the end. And for whatever reason, matter of fact, I don't even have a reason to point to.
Mm-hmm.
Except that I just didn't execute. I just don't do it. But I think I'm
That
pretty.
ending is what motivates me after I get started.
Say it again.
The ending is what motivates me after I get started. Like, for instance, with every book that I've written,
Mm-hmm.
I have wanted, like, every single, I did it again, my bad. But I have, I'll get started and I'll run into a wall. And I'm like, oh man, I can't do this. And then I keep reminding myself, you will be able to write the end. Remember how it felt the very first time you wrote the end.
Mm-hmm.
And yo, it was such a victory for me when I wrote the end at the end of my first book, yo. And it was just like, it was a huge, huge deal. So you just gotta find motivation in different things. Yo, you brought up the alarm clock. Yo, when I had to set an alarm, yo, this is how it would go. The alarm will go off. I look over at the alarm. I'll be like, "Fuck you, bitch!" like
But
screaming
don't
at me. Shut
you?
up. Like,
But you got to turn the alarm off, though, right?
yeah, yeah, I did. But she screamed first at me, and then I'm like, shut up. I trying to hear this crap. I'll curse the alarm out. Yo, I hate it. Yo, to the point where if I'm watching TV and an alarm goes off on TV, it's triggering to me. Yo, I hate it. I absolutely hate alarms, yo.
You and them goddamn triggers. I ain't got no triggers. I'm sorry.
I got a lot of triggers. Like,
Yeah, well, oh,
that's
almost, almost came out, boy. Almost came out. It's as if it just flows with no motivation whatsoever. It just, but nah, definitely no triggers. But dude, I'm really. This is. I'm gonna have to try to do this. I'm gonna have to pick one thing, and because, like what you were saying, you can't perform with no motivation. So in between achievements or in between motivation, you're just doing nothing.
well, all right, listen. You ask this question, okay?
Okay.
Well, I have to respond honestly. This is not arrogance or narcissism, as you like to say, okay? I
Well, hold
swear
on.
this is not what this is.
No, no, no. You're about to say that you do so many things, right? That you go from being inspired on one thing to being inspired on another thing. So even when you're not inspired on one thing, you are inspired in another area. Thereby, you don't have any actual gaps in performance.
I ain't even have to be here.
Yeah,
You got this. Like this.
I know who I'm talking to. So, so I figure, okay, yeah, I know exactly where he's going with this. All right. But I mean, but okay, but still, you even though you're doing something else in another way, I mean, in another lane, you're still not doing anything on that particular project.
Right.
Okay, because see,
Not until I get motivated again. Yo,
yeah,
I have so here's the thing. I have a lot of things that have not been finished.
mm-hmm.
You just don't know about it because I don't say nothing about it. And like I don't talk about things as I'm doing them typically. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, here, I've done this. And part of the reason that I don't like talking about stuff is out of fear of completely losing the motivation and not following through. And I don't ever want anybody to be like, what you
I'm not afraid of that at all.
but
Oh,
see, I don't ever want anybody, like, one of my fears is, well, yo, put it this way, like, I never want anybody to be able to say, yo, Terrell said he was going to do something and he didn't do it. Like, every single thing I say I was going to do, I did it or doing it, but that's a fear of mine, that somebody could be like, yo, he said he was going to do something and he didn't do it. That right there is a motivating factor for me.
yeah. See, that's not. It don't go across the board for me, and it should. You know what I mean? Because like,
Mhm.
if I tell, it's different. If I tell the, I don't know, if I tell the job, which actually should be even better. But if I tell the job I'm gonna do something, then I don't do it. Then it's just like it don't mean the same thing. It just means, all right, I gotta pick it up, or whatever. But if I tell my wife or my kids something and then I don't do it, then that's very different.
Right. Hmm.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I've definitely been there, because I'm gonna tell you, it's what it does is it makes you a liar, plain and simple, right?
And
But
unreliable.
yeah, but the the goal wasn't to deceive when you said you
Mhm.
was gonna do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just the motivation with it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Right.
And so,
Hmm.
and so then again, where I have to learn to perform without the motivation. I can perform based on the fact that I said, I was going to do. And it doesn't
Hmm.
matter whether I want to do, feel like doing. This is what I said I was going to do. If I wasn't, I had the option of not saying. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, all right, let's go ahead and on into the gray area now. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So you said you got to figure out a way to to perform without motivation, because if you said you're going to do something, you need to do it. Well, isn't that the motivation?
No, but what I'm saying is, I mean, so okay, hold on. Motivation, it wanes. It that's what we were just talking about.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're gonna be full on motivated, other times you're not. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So so it's so sometimes I don't really care. I ain't gonna front. You know what I mean? Whether they can say I didn't. I mean, after the fact, in the beginning, I'm quite sincere, but then the motivation, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have said that to begin with.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but I definitely have to learn how to. If I'm actually gonna get anything done, and I never really thought about this before, because I always let the lack of motivation stump me, and because of that, it never completes. Never actually gets to the end. And excuse me, and perform it through it, just push it through it. Yeah, I'm really, like I said, I'm gonna pick one thing. I'm gonna pick one thing, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna have to
Hmm.
schedule it. You know how people say, write something every day. Like if you want to write a book or whatever, write every day,
Hmm.
whether you want to or not. And then it just becomes, that habit. And by the time you stack these days of not really actually wanting to write things, now you find out you got 300 pages, whether you was motivated the whole time or not. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna pick one thing that I'm gonna have to touch on every day. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, because then you're gonna have expectations.
So let me ask you this though. What are your fears?
Um, what are my fears? Are we
Which is
talking
a
about just
very
anything?
weird question, as well as I know you,
Well,
because I can't think of you being afraid of anything.
well, I'm afraid of snakes. I don't like
Oh yeah,
snakes.
we did talk about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't like snakes, but other than that, I think the 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 biggest fear is someone knowing I'm afraid.
That's deep,
You know what I mean? Like I don't,
because
and
then they
it's
know
not.
how to control you.
Well, not just that. They also feel like they can't lean on me.
Oh, okay. You mean people that are
I mean,
allies, not
I mean all
enemies?
around.
Okay,
I mean all around. I mean all
okay,
around. If you
got you.
toe to toe with somebody, I don't want him to know that I'm afraid.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I am. I am. I'm afraid of two things: what can happen to me and what I could do to him.
Who do you? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm afraid. So, but I don't want him to know that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
also, if I had to, well, this sounds pretty crazy. If I had to get my son down like off of a building, like I gotta come to him, I need him to see me. I don't need him to know I'm afraid. I need him to be able to trust that when I get to him that he gonna be good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That that his he can do away with his fear when I get there. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I can't have him know that I'm afraid in order for him to be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably that's my biggest fear, I think. Now when it comes to actually finishing things, I think it's probably having to uphold a certain standard. Um, Feeling like I'm not sure I can do that. I can take us into this space that like professionally, I could definitely be further along, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I take us into this space and then we build a life around it, I got to keep us in this space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And my fear of one, my motivation to do that, but then also my ability to do that. You know, and I can't, but I've had to admit that when it comes to my wife just simply asking me, why don't you want to go further? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, but I was asking about the fear because, like in the scenario you use, if your son is up on a building and you're afraid of climbing this building, which
Right.
is crazy because you're not afraid of heights because you're just afraid of the
What?
because you said you're not afraid of heights, but the thing is, you're gonna look down and you're gonna be questioning what nothing. I don't even want to do it, yo. But it's crazy. It's
No,
crazy.
it's called high phenomenon something. But when I look down, I feel like I can make the jump.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
it is a situation.
yeah, it is.
So
It is.
and actually, to be clear, that's actually why I don't like heights because like I be looking over the rail like, yeah, I can make that. You know what I mean? So, and don't let me get the rocking and gripping the rail. So, but go ahead.
So, but with that, on the other side of that fear is
Mm,
something that that you absolutely have to accomplish,
mm,
right? So, what I'm saying is, when it comes to just trying to become successful, if you create a fear,
mm,
if and actually you don't even have to create a fear, you can identify a fear, because what you can do is you understand on the other side of this fear is a success that I absolutely need, and this success is attached to me being able to take care of my family, take care of myself, and live the life that I want to live and give my family the life that they deserve. But in front of that is a fear of me not being able to give that to them feeling like he could have done more, he should have done more. The last thing that you ever want to hear your children or your spouse say is you should have done more.
mm.
you know
True.
so so that's what I'm saying. It's like just create that motivation, and sometimes you have to create that motivation from a place of fear.
When I have, I well, I won't say I have no problem creating motivation because I certainly do, but that's kind of what I'm addressing. Like when I can't create it, is where I see the usefulness of this concept here. Where because so many times I can't do like I just I can't. I don't want to. I don't want to study. I don't want to open these books and read about networking and routing and switching because it doesn't interest me
Mhm.
like that. But until I get into it, once I get into it, then I'm a little impressed with myself when I realize how much I understand. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I have to be able to definitely. I have to be able to create the habit and create the routine so that it's in such a motion, right? That even when I don't want to, even when faced with some resistance, like for instance, you see a boulder coming, rolling down the hill. After so long, it picks up a speed where if it would have hit this rock early on, it might have stopped it. But because it's been rolling for so long on that routine, not only just a free will, that's just how it's going downhill. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
Right.
rolling on, then as it picks up that speed, that same rock that had it hit that obstacle further up, now it goes over it. It may even crush it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because of the habit and the routine that has, excuse me, been formulated from it just moving because that's what momentum does. And so, and this, I hadn't used the word momentum yet, but that's what this is. This is, I create a momentum that will allow me to perform without motivation. You follow me?
Yeah, I do, but I want to still call that motivation because there's a reason.
Um, because there's a reason.
Yeah. Let me get that thought together. I'll come back to that. Um, I think the other thing is, going back to what Chef said, he said that hold on, I want to read that again. So Chef said motivation is typically attached to a goal. Now, the other thing is this with the goal, sometimes motivation is attached to being excited about the goal because I may have a goal. If this is something like, for instance, if you got a regular 9 to 5 job and your boss comes to you and it's like, look, here, I need you to take care of this. So this is a task. This is now your goal, but I ain't excited about this goal, so I really ain't motivated to do this. So oftentimes it's about being excited about the goal too.
Okay. So, but again, the question is asking, you know, or not asking, but saying you have to be able to move even when you're not excited.
Hmm.
I mean, like that is the part that is so just mind blowing to me to figure how you actually do that. Because just pushing through pain, pushing whatever the pain might be, whether it be a physical pain or a mental strain. Because oh my god, I got to do all this goddamn paperwork. I can't even. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
you just not wanting to do it, but it has to get done. It's due tomorrow. I gotta turn in the design tomorrow because they want to go ahead and put it in a test atmosphere, and they've been asking for it for 3 weeks. And I do not want to do it, but I got to do it, and the motivation just can't be. That's wild. I mean, it's because I know you're calling everything motivation, but you're also saying that there's times when you're not motivated, right?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
saying at those times nothing happens. Now, I'm not saying that that's across the board for everybody. I believe that yeah, there are some people that could probably move without motivation, but my question would be, why are you moving? Because the moment you give me an answer, that's the motivation.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so basically, you're calling anything motivation unless you're just standing. Even if you're standing still, you're motivated to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I'm saying if that's like, I can't really, you can't really give a rebuttal to it because it kind of just can apply however you choose to apply it. That's the reason you can when you exchange the reason for motivation or
Mhm.
cause for motivation. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So, but I definitely have several times when I'm not motivated even remotely. I just have to, like, I don't see me just having to get it done because it has to get done being motivation.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. It's a fine line. I can't really. I don't know what the other, I guess, word would be if not motivation. But man, I'm not amped about it. I'm not, like you said, excited about it at
Hmm.
all. There's nothing positively pushing me in the direction of that thing. I'm fighting tooth and nail internally. You know what I mean? And I have to be able to just, because I hate having to manufacture motivation. Oh my God, specifically creativity. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot stand it because I gotta hit a deadline or something like that. I can't freaking stand it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. Now deadlines, that pressure is one of the biggest motivating factors for me. I will, I will, like, even to the point where I will be working on something
mm,
and I will, like I said, I'll run into a wall, right?
mhm.
And then I will just jump out there and tell a bunch of people, hey, look, by this particular day, I'm going to have this done. Now I got to do it.
Mhm.
I have to do it. At this point, what I've done is I'm standing on a bridge and I told somebody, I said, look, I need you to set this bridge on fire.
Mhm.
I got to hurry up and get off this bridge now,
Right, right.
you know? So I just have to figure out a way to manufacture the motivation because I just I can't perform without motivation. One of the things that works against me too, that I meant to kind of get into it earlier, but my depression. My
Mhm.
depression completely kills my motivation. It completely kills it. Um, there are times where like there are two people in this world who have seen me at my lowest, where I am just like, where I'm like super, super unmotivated. I mean, even to the point of I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't even want to like this. I don't want to.
All right, we get it. Jesus God.
Wait, what happened that time?
You did you you just said you don't want to do like 9 things or whatever. So I was like, all right, okay, we got it.
Yeah, but that 10th one was gonna be deep.
I mean, it had to be. You had already gone 9 in.
I was
Wait a minute.
motivated.
Wait.
I was motivated, man. Like that's step on my motivation. Like that's
You got to learn to perform without it again, sir. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
That
go ahead.
that
Go
right.
ahead. See what you were saying.
Yeah, but that right there has been a struggle for me. Just trying to not necessarily a struggle because I don't even struggle with it anymore. If I'm not motivated, I don't even try. Don't even try, yo. Like whatever.
Well, so okay, hold on. So isn't a try performing without motivation?
Yeah, but I just said that I don't try.
No. I get it. But I'm saying
Oh,
if you tried, but you
mhm.
didn't want to, isn't a try essentially performing without motivation? I
Well,
don't really care to do this. I'm just gonna give it a try.
so not necessarily. It depends on how far you push the try. Because now I'll say this: there have been times where I have not been motivated and I've tried, and in the try I realized how much I'm not motivated to do this, so I just don't do it. So the try, like it, there was no motivation. There was no motivation connected to the try. I was like, let me see if I can do this. I tried,
But
can't do it.
that's what I'm saying. A try is performing without motivation. I don't really nothing's really pulling me to do this. But I'm just gonna try.
Well, then that depends on how you view performing. Because for me, performing means that I'm actually accomplishing this thing. So if I try and I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, I can't do this, I didn't accomplish anything. I just wasted my time.
I mean, well, I guess you still accomplished. You confirmed further that you didn't really want to do
I
it.
didn't accomplish the task at hand. That's what I mean.
Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna stay right there. That a try is performing without motivation. I think where my kids at? I'm about to. I think I'm. That's it. Even when you don't want to, you gotta try. You gotta push just a little past whatever is your comfort or your desire. You know what I mean? Like there it is. Try is performance without motivation.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, but that's why we on two different sides of this computer because I ain't doing it.
You ain't doing what?
I ain't trying. I'm not. I'm not. If I ain't motivated, I ain't doing it. I'm gonna grab them covers and I'm gonna put them covers right over my head and go into my own little world where I don't have to try or be motivated to do anything.
Okay, so you all tried out. You and Lisa Lisa.
Yes.
Got you all tried out. Gotcha.
I'm gonna pull that song up. I want to listen to that when we get off here. I love that song.
Which is about that time, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, look at that.
Yeah, because in a little while, in about 4 hours, I'm gonna have to get up and go perform with no motivation.
You motivated.
I ain't. I'm
Yeah,
trying. I'm trying.
You motivated.
I said I'm not.
And I said you are.
All right. At this point, we're just stating the obvious. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It has been a pretty cool hour. It actually goes by pretty quick when you're having fun and when I'm talking to you.
Hey, we're motivated.
I mean, okay, true enough. I wasn't motivated the whole time. I was watching the clock and I don't know how long we're gonna be able to go with this, but I kept trying.
Well, lucky for you, I was motivated the entire time.
Yo, did you by any chance find a quote while we was rapping to give the people for next week?
I'm so back and forth about this quote. I'm going to say this. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, but for everybody listening, I don't know if this is definitely going to be the quote next week. I have to see. I don't know, but the quote is blank.
Oh boy,
is invited to the cookout.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it is just whomever's name here, but
I think we might need a panel.
You want a panel? You want
I think we might need a panel. I think we might need a couple of people. Yeah.
You need a beautiful and wonderful people? We're gonna do that? You beautiful and wonderful people?
Well, you're gonna have to pull that rabbit out your hat. I don't have any.
I got it. You don't have any wonderful people? I got wonderful people. You know I got wonderful people. I got wonderful people. Yeah, so
yeah, I don't. Well, I got some, but I mean,
not for this.
Yeah, not really. Not really. Yeah.
That's if we decide to do that. I just don't know if I want to yet.
I think that would be pretty interesting. Because obviously we're going to talk about who can come and who can't and why they can and if they can stay and whether or not they can bring the N-word with them.
Yeah, but also we can go there with it. But the other thing is this saying stupid? What's the point in it? What's the point like in saying it, and what happens afterwards? When they do get invited? Should they be invited?
Okay.
What is it that you saw in them to make you say that they should be invited? Like they're just. I think there's something deeper. I think there's something deeper, and once you start peeling back layers, I think it may say more about the person saying it than it is about the person they're saying it about. But listen, I
think you decided.
I don't know if I'm motivated to do this yet.
We're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. So, all right, y'all. We're gonna wrap up another episode of Quotes and Mirrors. I hope that you all enjoyed. I need y'all to say some more stuff. I need y'all to jump online. You got some comments, put them out there. And if you're not reading the comments, then god dang it, I got some choice words for you. All right.
I mean, they got to be motivated to say something. So.
I can't see them on this side, so But we want y'all to show up. We want y'all to listen up. We want you to.
You can now. I just put them up there for you.
I can't see them right now. Plus, it's the end of the show, jerk.
I know. That's why I did it. It's not even showing.
But you
Just
stop
throwing a blank box.
interrupting,
That was
bro.
stupid. That backfired. Whatever.
Stop interrupting. I'm trying to close the show. You got me sounding like a Baptist preacher. All right. This is my third benediction.
The problem is you ain't passed the collection plate around. I mean, we can just do Cash App. Like that's.
I mean, I don't appreciate that reference.
What you mean?
Are you? Hold on. We're gonna get into a whole nother situation, and we need to get off of this recording because I gotta go to bed.
Yeah,
All right.
you do. Yeah,
So
you do. Because
we appreciate
you
y'all.
gotta get up too early. So
It is the Quotes America podcast every Monday, 9:00. We're gonna go live. We want you to go with us. Come on out. Watch, listen, and learn. Don't worry about the other side. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say I made it through the whole joint. So
you did. You did.
well, hopefully we're gonna see y'all next week when our quote might be blank is invited to the cookout. Yo, bring a friend. Somebody send an email or something because I think we need a panel. All right. So we're gonna see y'all next week. I am Uncommonterry.
And I am Rellic. And on that note, and I quote, peace out.